gonna let things warm up here a little bit, folks. Let a few people hopefully log in, share this if they wish, and got Susan calling in. So just let the run through a couple minutes with the intro, and we'll be all good to go.
Someone would straight up ask, Lindsey Graham, how did Russia hack them when they refused to let the FBI even use the server?
Anything that we indicted the Russians for, Obama's national security advisor is profiting from this when taxpayers paid for it.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society.
So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't get that, man. They go through all this trouble to get here and then come here and vote Democrat.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
All right, folks. I got some audio issues with Susan right now. Let's see, do we have that going in here? Let me see if we are live right now. Bear with me. Why does this never work proper? There we are. Yep. There we go. Live.
I'm gonna try to call you again and see.
No, don't. Hold on here. More options. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure we are actually broadcasting. We don't have. Okay, so bear with me one moment, folks. I got Susan on here, but she can't hear me. We should have, there we are, we're live right now there, but let me see if this is actually going through. Here we are. No, that's not live. Okay. This could work better. All right, got the stream running there. Trying to fix the issue with Susan right now, and of course this should be live right now on YouTube, but it's not, and of course it should be live right now on Facebook, and it's not. Now I could go out there on the limb and say, hey, this is the deep state, but gonna probably have to pass on that one. Okay, this is clearly not going now. Well, maybe it is happening now. Here we are. But can we hear can I hear everything on there? So, we are live on, here we are. Yeah, nice. So, we can hear everything just fine. My GoPro is going to die on me here. Haven't worked out all the issues there. But that's nice to see that the Facebook is going through. Just to show you that I have Susan on here. There's the wonderful Susan. She can't hear us or me. Hey, look, we're live now there too. Why the hell did that take forever to start showing? I don't know. So we got the wonderful Susan here. Of course, she cannot hear a darn thing. And let me see if I can figure out why. Hold on one moment here. Let me pull this up. Well, that ain't gonna work. Okay. There we go. I need to. There we are. Oh, come on. There we are. Settings. Yeah, bear with me, folks. It's going to be much more interesting with Susan. I just gotta figure out why. Okay, so she can't hear me. I can hear her. Microphone. Let's go with the Yeti. Why not? And that is on now. Can you hear me now, Susan?
Yes, I can.
Hey, wonderful. Okay, but I think I'm gonna want to switch my microphone. Is it like echoey?
No, it's fine.
Because I've got this microphone,
There's
that
a little bit of
microphone.
echo, but it's not terrible.
I've got a couple different microphones on. Let me do this here. Can you hear me now?
You go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't
Okay.
see you.
I switched over to the other microphone. You're not supposed to see me. Well,
Okay.
you know, thanks to NDI and Skype. When I'm broadcasting out here, it has its limitations. Say hello to the world, Susan.
Oh, hello, everyone. I didn't know we were live.
Yeah, we are.
Wednesday evening.
Yeah, you know, this is certainly, this is not, you know, like a Fox News broadcast. If it were, we'd have the flags in the background and, you know, all the, like, you know, pretty ladies. And we got a pretty lady here, but, you know, I'm not going to use you as some sort of object like they, here, like they will on Fox, so.
Yeah. Well, if you did, I'd have to raise my salary.
There you go. So, very interesting day. I'm going to, or very interesting, like several weeks actually, that I wanted to go over with you.
Yeah.
While we're doing this though, I'm kind of setting something up in the background, maybe, hopefully. Let's see if I can do this while, you know, kind of like walk and talk at the same time. Now let me do this here. And I can show some, I'll pull some video up because it's been taking, it's taken me like all day to try to get the video to work properly. Let me just make a copy of this here, duplicate. And we'll just put that as one. And this will have you on there, but I will remove me and put the video of, here we go. I'll remove me and put the video of some of the stuff that I did today, right?
Okay.
So Susan,
Are these videos that you've taken or that you've downloaded and things that you want to talk about?
well, you know, I sent you a just like a short little clip. I may even just play that clip right now. Well, once I load it in here. But actually, there's a couple that I might actually play in the background here. Clip 1, I'll name it. And the quality is, I think, really good, especially for the first attempt, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're
It's,
experimenting with all this.
yeah, and it's,
Working with so many different platforms and pieces of equipment. And I imagine it's probably hard to get them to all talk to each other.
yeah, it is, but made some great progress. So, Susan, you came down here a couple weeks ago, and we had a very good time. We got a lot done. Let me pull this up here real quick. Let me see if I can do this. This is the buzzards. Remember?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Here we go. So that's at the top. Clip 1. That should play. 100%. Restart when source becomes active. Okay. So here we are. Clip 1. Let me see if this works, Susan. Gonna put that over there. There it is.
Now, am I gonna be able to see this or just?
Yeah, no, just people on there. And it doesn't appear to. No, this is like the big video. It is really cool. Everybody's seeing, like, what they're seeing is the full screen of the video of a longer clip, Susan. But let me see if I can make this a little smaller. Whoa. And that way you'll be in the image there too. So what we have here is, so now I have UAC on the screen there. So this is me stuck in traffic. I don't have the audio on there, although you would think it does. It really came out great. The audio came out good, and the video. And I have this set up on the. I have the gimbal mounted to the Harley, and I've got the really good audio, which you heard, and it sounds great, doesn't it?
It does. So a gimbal, just for people that don't know, it's like a stand for your camera.
Well, it's like a stand, but it's got a three-way gyroscope, three-way access with gyroscope, which is why when you're watching me drive down the road right now, it's so steady. I didn't have enough time to pull the video, edit it, and then bring the audio clips in here. But before doing the show, and we were a few minutes late anyway, so that would have really caused problems.
That was probably my fault.
No, that was all my fault. And but just to show people, you know, we've got this incredible. We've got an incredible setup going here. The quick link, is that one? No, it's now there. I'm on that camera. Okay. The GoPro, I still have work to do with it, which is what you people were seeing me on a minute ago. I had that just went powered down on me. Have no idea why, but you know, I've only had a couple days to mess with that, and this is actually the first time that I've actually used it to do one of the camera angles. But it is going to be so cool because what we're doing is, with the help of a lot of different people, huge help from Susan, we ordered up the Pelican cases. I've got 3 Pelican cases for the Harley. I just want to explain to people what's going on.
Explain why we're doing this and what you're doing, just for anyone that hasn't, that doesn't know what your intentions are for the summer. Maybe that's a good place to start.
All right, so my intentions are to drive around basically wherever I can. I have a couple definite destinations in mind, but being in D.C., and then I'm meeting with some journalists in Ohio shortly. I'm having terrible trouble trying to resize your image right now so I can pull it over, Susan. You wouldn't have any idea what's going on here, but it's ludicrous. Oh no, I've just destroyed you. There we are. You're now like, I can't use that. Oh no, now you're completely off screen. Okay, let's see if I can change that back here. There we go. I'm trying to like fix your image here just so people can see. You are now completely overlaid on top of me. Nobody can see me over here, and I'm trying to make you smaller, but every time I try to make you smaller, you get bigger. Here we go, maybe. Hey, that works. Okay. Hey, we're back in business. There you go. So, why are we doing what we're doing? So, you know, I spent 5 years trying to get this message out, my story out. As a whistleblower in 2015, I've submitted to the Inspector General a complaint with my employer, Dynology, owned by Obama's National Security Advisor, General Jones, right? So I ran into, just ran into the deep state back in 2015. Really, I suppose if I would have known now what I know now with everything that Trump went through, I probably would have understood and maybe wouldn't have even filed the complaint because you know. And that's probably a good point too. Whistleblowers at this point must feel like just hopeless. And you know, why risk your career and everything to try to do the right thing? I was an information assurance security officer for 8 years working with Jones, 10 years with the DOD altogether, working different contracts and with the military, right? So I have a responsibility, I have a job, and when that was violated, when people tried to subvert the rules and break the law, and I reported it, my life was destroyed. So I've tried for years to get this message out. Then I found out that, you know, one of the people that working for Jones is one of his former vice president for Jones Group International is one of the big hosts on Fox News, right? And when you think about the work that I was doing for Jones, it was basically the same social media psychological warfare capabilities we indicted the 13 Russians for just back in 2018, which we'll have to go back to that a little bit later if you can remind me. But did you see that article I sent you back in March that they dropped all the charges against the 13 Russians?
We can go back to that.
So, at any rate, so I spent the last 5 years running into and learning about the deep state. They destroyed my life, which is literally, you know, what I named my book, my first book, Victim of the Swamp, How the Deep State Destroyed the 40-Year-Old Private, available on Amazon. Got another one coming out here shortly as well, which is going to be awesome. Archetypes of the ShadowNet, which is kind of like an origin story of the best that I've been able to do to put together all the different people that are kind of behind the curtain, so to speak, with this, everything in D.C. and everything that we've experienced for the last couple of years, largely. Ukraine, all of these things.
I think people are more ready to hear your message because they're seeing all these different actors, bad actors, in you know, in the government, in the
Mhm.
media. So they're understanding that. So I think that your message is because of all this that's going on, and then also the lack of liberty that some individuals and states are experiencing right now because of the COVID pandemic. Um, anyway, I think that your message is going to be well received.
And it's an election year, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people have told me that they've been holding on to my story. That some people that I've gone to, Matt Gaetz, one of them. I noticed that Marco Rubio made it. He was just appointed to chairman of the Intelligence Committee, interim chairman.
Racing for
You know, but I went to I went to Rubio. Rubio has my information. It seems like everybody who gets my information ends up appointed on these really nice, cushy seats that normally people are there a lot longer for. Like Matt Gaetz, it's his first term, and he was on the Judiciary Committee, I think, or not Judiciary, but he was on the Intelligence Committee with Nunes. It's so involved. I can't get into the entire. I don't want to get into the entire story. I'll drag everybody down the rabbit hole. But even Nunes knows my story. Even Nunes is involved. It's insane. So I filed, and then in January, in December, I went down and followed up in person with Congressman Nunes, Congressman Gate. Drove to D.C. Met with their staff. Met with the Senate Intelligence Committee. They were the only ones that really spent any time with me. I spent about 45 minutes with them, but I came back and nobody wanted to do anything. And I was following up with them, walking into their office with copies of official reports that I had sent to them, signed, sworn under a penalty of the False Claims Act 6 months to a year earlier, and I had never gotten a response. So, been around since Abraham Lincoln, and it was a way to try to help the government keep from getting ripped off by contractors, going all the way back to the Civil War. And so I filed a complaint with the KETAM, with the Lincoln Law, against and the complaint named my former employer, the company I worked for, Dynalogy, Jim Jones, the son of General James Jones. He was the president of Dynalogy. Named all of these people. Named Fox News because of all the connections to it. I mean, there are so many connections to my boss and Fox News killing my story. You see, because as you know, I reached out to Judge Janine Pirro back in December of 2018, and within a couple days, within like 1 or 2 days of me reaching out to her, literally getting her on the phone, and you would know that woman's voice anywhere. I caught her just as she was walking into a doctor's appointment. She sounded a little pissed, actually. Then she always sounds pissed, so you wouldn't really know. But I spoke to her on the phone, and you saw that, Susan. I think actually you helped lead me to the link with that, where within 24 to 48 hours of me speaking as a whistleblower, reaching out to a journalist who's supposed to protect the person bringing him the information, and the whistleblower, their source. They're supposed to protect their source. It's like journalism ethics 101. There's literally, swear to God, believe it or not, shocker, there is a journalistic code of ethics. You would not know that if you watch news for the last couple decades, right? I get that, but swear to God, there is a journalistic code of ethics. You can Google it, and like the first 2 or 3 rules of the journalistic code of ethics, Fox News threw right out the window. And these are people I trusted, I didn't bother going to with Rachel Maddow because she's just so, corrupt. It's not even funny, or any of those others. Sleepy Eyes. What's his name from? I just know him by Trump's nicknames at this point. But all Sleepy Eyes from NBC. Why even go to them? So I went to Judge Janine. I get a hold of her, and within 24 to 48 hours, General Jones, the subject of my 2015 IG complaint, and the subject of the report that Piro's doing, is at Fox News' headquarters doing an interview with his former vice president of Jones Group International, which, by the way, is one of the largest, if not the largest, Saudi energy lobby in D.C., right? So he's meeting with his former vice president, who's now a host on Fox News, in which, by the way, I mentioned that, I pioneered for him the same capabilities we indicted the Russians for. And the work that I did for Jones was 100% involved, utilizing journalists as assets, right?
Sure.
Or at least that capability. And so when you think about
the more media, way, back to Vietnam.
okay, so when you think about all the stuff that I did for him, and then you see all the assets that he's inserting into at the highest levels of the media, like Turner, Jillian Turner. Abby Huntsman's the daughter of John Huntsman. John Huntsman was the Atlantic Council chairman when he was tapped by President Trump to be the U.S. ambassador to Russia. He in turn tapped General Jones as the interim chairman for the Atlantic Council. Right, so there you have Abby Huntsman, you have John Huntsman, you have a direct connection to Fox News. Hell, Rupert Murdoch is on Fox. The founder of Fox is on Atlantic Council's board of directors. So I have a major issue because I believe, if like two or more people are involved to cover up a crime, that's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's literally like the crime of conspiracy, right? Something like that. I'm not an attorney. I'm an IT guy. But so I want to find out. I believe that it was extremely inappropriate. I think what they did was illegal. I think they conspired to keep my story from being aired about Jones because Jones is so tied to all these key people within Fox News and within the Atlantic Council. Hell, while he was the interim chairman of Atlantic Council, he partnered with Facebook to, quote unquote, restore election integrity worldwide. And think about it. I helped build the ShadowNet for him. The ShadowNet was a social media psychological warfare weapon that utilizes social media to influence and alter the outcome of elections. Yet Facebook somehow decided and it was like a month after Zuckerberg sat in front of Congress and said, "My bad, mea culpa, won't let it happen again." A month later, he's partnering with Jones, my boss, the owner of the ShadowNet, to restore election integrity worldwide. I'm calling shenanigans on all of them, right? I'm just...
Not only does he own, the thing that really bothers me, one of the things that really bothers me is that when you were working for Jim Jones, you were working for a contractor. Then there was another prime contractor, and these contractors were paid by the U.S. government. So paid with our tax dollars.
Yeah.
Basically created this psychological warfare child, and
Weapon.
somehow Jones was able to keep the rights to that software, and that I would love to do it for you and see. You know, we probably won't have it because it's independent contractor. But I would love to see if there's a way to get a copy of the contract that was signed by General James Jones
Mm-hmm.
when he was the NSA director for Obama.
Yeah. Yeah, because
It was
as I'm sorry, go ahead.
it was concurrent at the same time.
Yeah.
He tried to shield himself from the contract and had his son step in as president of this company. Not only this company, but other companies that developed afterwards. But that's what really bothers me is that we've actually paid for this.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. So as when our contract ended in 2000, in like October of 2008, we're talking just a couple months before the election. Our contract ends in Iraq, in Baghdad. I come back to the States in January, start on a new contract for CENTCOM with JMISC, basically doing the same thing on a much larger scale. And on the same, three things happened in January of 2009. One, I came back from Iraq and started working on another contract for Dynology, which was a DoD-funded contract, massive contract at CENTCOM, doing the same thing, IIA, Interactive Internet Activities, which is the DoD nomenclature for social media psychological warfare. So at the same time I'm starting that contract, Dynology is making the weapon we developed in Iraq at taxpayer expense. He's making that commercially available under the trademark name of ShadowNet, which I have online, the actual flyers for it. So January 2009, the ShadowNet's being made commercially available. And by the way, I didn't know it at the time, but by the way, Paul Manafort, we were Paul Manafort's #1 partner. So at the same, so even like before January 2009, Dynology Jones is John McCain's not only lifelong friend of 40 years going back to Vietnam where they served together, but Dynology was John McCain's IT/social media company. At the same time, we are making that commercially available. Paul Manafort we are Paul Manafort's #1 partner, and he just got indicted and has been accused of doing the exact same things that the ShadowNet, ironically enough, was built to do. Right? So
clearly there's a connection there. But
you would think.
If I can interrupt you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So a lot of people around the country, of course, your Patreon followers know about this, but there's so many other people that you need to get your message out to.
Mm-hmm.
Since you can't use the media won't take you on the mainstream media. We have to get this message out to other people somehow. So we kind of talked about, okay, well, how can that happen? Basically, you were going to go before this COVID pandemic thing. I think your plan was to go to different Trump rallies and different talks and so forth, and start there, and then perhaps take your message out to other people
Mm-hmm.
throughout the country. So that's what you were kind of getting at, I think, when you're talking about, we got the Pelican cases. And basically, you're getting outfitted to do a countrywide as much as you can
Yeah.
tour to get your message out.
Yeah, basically all else has failed for the last 5 years. The media is so corrupt, it's beyond the corruption even identified or described by President Trump. Although President Trump did say when he first went into office that he had no idea how deep the swamp really was. Well, yeah, welcome to my world, buddy. He found out, and I believe he actually kind of threw himself on a grenade, so to speak, took one for the team to expose these people, because he's really done a great job. As people are attacking him, I'm putting my chart together of all the people that I worked with, all the people associated to the ShadowNet, and all of these people are just one by one showing up connected to Trump. And I think the problem is that I think a lot of our elected officials, so many people that I've went to, signed these formal memorandums, right down to the FBI, right? All these people that I've gone to, I think our elected officials are using it or similar services now to win the positions that they're in now. And I believe to support my story or to justify anything that I've gone to them with would serve to potentially expose them for doing the exact same thing. And I'm talking Adam Schiff, Pelosi, everybody knows about this. Multiple faxes. My congressman, both of my congressmen, because I moved, Gus Bilirakis and Charlie Crist, a Democrat and Republican, have forwarded my official reports of abuse in my official memorandums of record. So it's all broken. The system's totally shot. We can't trust the media. It's all shot, which is completely depressing because they literally have constitutional protections carved out to them as a way to kind of ensure the sovereignty of our country. And they've just taken it and they've exchanged it for their bank accounts. So we have no more trust in the media. They're gone. And we can't trust our elected officials because I think half of our elected officials, or maybe even as much as 90% of our elected officials, are in the positions that they're in now because they use the same or similar social media psychological warfare weapons we indicted the Russians for. So how can they sit there and bitch about Russia influencing U.S. elections when they've been doing, almost certainly, they've been winning their elections using the ShadowNet, which I spoke to to Jim Jones about, for not only for how it would benefit its use in lobbying, which again, I go back to Jones Group International being one of the, if not the largest lobby group for oil in D.C., Saudi oil, and every one of them. So the only way to get the message out is to take it on the road. I can't get my message out from my porch in Newport Richey. So Susan comes down here, but we're kind of killing three birds with one stone. I'm working on finishing up and releasing my second book here pretty soon. And the second book, Archetypes of the ShadowNet, actually not just tells you about the problem, but offers a solution. The office I'm in right now, that Susan came down and helped with, and the nonprofit that we are using this as part of, which I can say the name now, right? The website's registered, but you can't get into the website. I got it locked down because we still got to make sure everything's right for Fred, right? But safevet.org is the website that we developed. So not only am I bitching about this, we have a solution for it, right? So
Which I think is great and positive, and I love the fact that the focus is on military, active military, veterans, and their families. And you know, we're coming up on Memorial Day here, and these families all over America have sacrificed so much, and we send these people overseas like yourself, and we ask them to pay for their own entertainment or internet or what have you, and if they wanted to watch any films or see any other content, then they would have to pay extraordinary prices to AFN, Armed Forces Network, and I think that is a disgrace.
yeah, the system with the nonprofits that are in place right now, the VFW, it's an amazing organization that's been around for a very, very long time, right? And somebody's showing me that we're getting an echo here. Sounds like your computer fan is super loud. Background noise is distracting. So hopefully what I can do here by seeing that, so that's the road. Let's drop that JB link down. That's not on.
Yeah, there's a lot of feedback. It's a high pitched feedback.
Mhm. So I think that may have solved it, but I'm going to go into this. It will take a minute. We're like fixing this on the fly. So let me, this is a deal with,
So you go ahead and try to fix that.
well, we'll have to leave it. We're 3/4 of the way through. It is annoying though. I just heard it on, it's like a little hum in the background. I believe that's actually with the GoPro, the way I have it connected. But anyway, so we have a solution to the problem. The VFW, great organization, been around for a long time, but it's for a previous generation. What's left of it now. They have a nice riders organization, which I'm a member of, but they also have they have largely smoky old bars with cheap liquor and lottery tickets, right? They do work in the community. They raise funds. They collect and preserve the history of veterans and different organizations like that. I mean, so it's good. But what we're doing with SafeVet is we're trying to take that and make it something that is awesome for all generations of veterans. So for the new generation of veterans, it's a cyber cafe, right? So you get like cheap coffee, beer, and wine. For the older veterans, the way is subject to a board approval, subject to the approval of Fred Taylor. Fred is an amazing individual. I think 17 years he was the director of the Military Order of the Purple Heart or the Purple Heart Foundation. He has so much experience with nonprofits, it's not even funny. But he wants it done right. and I can't blame him. So the last probably 3 weeks, would you say, Susan? Um, I've been working 15, maybe 18 hours a day, um, both developing the website, testing whether or not things are going to work or not, and if they work, incorporating them into what is now becoming the bylaws and constitution for safevet.org. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing thing. So when Susan came down here, we met with someone about the possibility even of one of our first of our first post. That's a work in progress. It is we can't really discuss anything about it other than to say that the view is stunning. Right? Am I wrong there, Susan? Is this
Absolutely.
is one of the most stunning locations you could imagine?
Yeah, the location is great. The location is perfect
Mm-hmm.
in terms of traffic, in terms of view,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the demographics.
Yep.
There's just a lot of great things about that location. So we'll see. I mean, we have some other work to do in that arena.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we have set up an office that
In
we can
Newport, in Port Richey.
yes, right, exactly. That we can once our bylaws are approved,
Mm-hmm.
and we have our actually just once the bylaws are approved, and our next step is to
Mm-hmm.
submit our application, which we've already prepared
Mm-hmm.
for application for nonprofit status under section federal 19A, which is a veteran-based nonprofit. So we can operate prior to receiving that approval,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I was okay with us going ahead and signing a lease on this space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, I'm so glad that I went down there because I was a little innocent in terms
It's
of
a
the
nice
space.
place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot nicer than I imagined, and it's a lot more versatile.
Freaking
So
cheap for the. We got a great deal on this, didn't we?
yes,
It's amazing what you can negotiate lease-wise during a pandemic.
yeah, well, yeah, not all, yeah, exactly. So, we spent some time getting the office set up and trying to figure out, okay, what do we need, what do we not need, and we're not done. We're getting there. Um, so that, and also getting, stepping away from the nonprofit just a little bit, but also beginning to um, basically assemble the gear that you're going to need to take your message out on the road.
Mm.
And that takes time. What's going to work, what's not going to work.
Oh my gosh.
You
We
have all
started.
these creative solutions,
We.
and the problem is that you think so creatively sometimes that I think that some of the standard machine shops, motorcycle shops, what have you,
Yeah.
they just can't go there with their creativity.
Well,
But I think that you found guys that can.
we started out with putting a hitch on my bike and pulling a trailer, which would be a great idea. I could have brought more stuff, still building out the like a mobile media studio, but who would have known that they don't make a hitch for a 2012 Super Glide? Well, actually, they make one in Canada, which was closed indefinitely due to the pandemic. Goes back to March, right? And so ended up finding pelican cases, which was kind of cool because when I was with JCSE in the Army Reserves with McDill, I was actually one of the first 10 people I was one of the first 10 members of JCSE's ARE, the 4th JCS, the Army Reserve element. And I helped stand the 4th JCS up. And what we did is our unit deployed out really, we could deploy out anywhere in the world, and we deployed communications, satellite communications, that allowed us to set up within a few minutes anywhere in the world with full internet on 3 different classifications, unclassed, and then all the way up higher. And we could do that. We could set this up in a matter of about 15-20 minutes anywhere in the world with a satellite shot. We had everything pre-done in these Pelican cases. You can drive a Humvee over them. And so I was like, wait a minute here. Okay, well, a trailer would be nice, but this guy, and I saw one guy that actually already did it, and he was like a photojournalist, and he mounted his equipment onto his bike using that. I think actually it was like a Super Glide as well, using the Pelican cases. And so I'm just basically taking it one step further to where I'm hooking up an inverter so that I can actually, so that the rear top case will have all of the cameras, recording equipment, and everything, and it actually mounts on the bike as well. And it secures really strongly. I could leave it on there and not worry about it. The lower left side, like pannier bag, which is a Pelican case, will contain power, right? So I'll be able to plug in a network, and I'll be able to pull up to any event, right? So let's say we get the Trump events going again. I have a bunch of my books loaded in the right side, and I go to the Trump event, set up a little umbrella on it. I can now walk within 1,000 feet of my bike. I can broadcast just like using OBS, just like we are now. Hopefully better. I get better as I go along. And
well, you're experimenting with how many different manufacturers of different things and little pieces of this and that.
yeah.
We'll work out the kinks.
Yeah, so there's a lot to work on, and so we've simultaneously. One last thing I want to mention about the nonprofit, right? So we're going to be with each post. The one unique thing about SafeVet is as each post goes online, it's going to have roughly a 2 to 5 petabyte data center in it. And what does that do? Well, once you start getting dozens or hundreds of posts, like the situation with the VFW, and you connect all of these 2 to 5 petabyte data centers, to give you an idea, if you had 300 of these SafeVet posts and each of them had a 5 petabyte data center, you'd have about 1,500 petabytes of data. Well, to give you an idea, all of the combined data in the U.S. for Facebook and for Facebook, for YouTube, for all of them, Microsoft, for Google, right, for YouTube, all of those combined comes to about 1,200 petabytes. So 300 locations would be dealing with about 1,500 petabytes if they were all 5 each. To give you an idea, what we're looking at here, what is that? The VFW has 6,000 posts. So you would be looking probably, as much as 20,000 petabytes. Not 15 or not 1,200, 20,000 petabytes. So what can we do with all that data, right? Well, you have the Veterans History Project. You have the American Legion. You have the VFW. All of these organizations that have sort of been doing their best to collect and preserve the history of all of our veterans through going back to so many wars. but they don't have the capability of making them really available. So through the Veterans History Project and through other things, we'll be able to utilize our databases as they build out for really any non-commercial, non-government entity. Think of SafeVet the same way you would NPR, right? We're like the National Public Radio for the internet. PBS, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, was formed because the America feared the commercialization of TV and its potential abuse of influencing Americans. Same with radio. That's why we have NPR. So it just seems logical that it's kind of a national public database is available. Separate from the internet. You can access it through the internet, but it's going to basically use the same security protocols as a secret classified network, right? China's not going to be able to get into it. It's going to eliminate 99% of the problems. No one's going to access that without proper attribution, right? Provenance of that person. All members are going to be verified by DD214, 23andMe, or ID.me. And so, unlike the internet where anybody can be any profile or persona that they want, when you're interacting on this network, you're going to be like almost 100% certain that of the provenance or the attribution of the person or the transaction that you're doing, right? So we can...
Not only that, but you're not going to have a company like YouTube or Facebook or these other companies that basically censor content. Our organization is going to be the one to manage the content. So there's going to be no censoring. It's not going to be political. It's going to be apolitical.
Yeah, you can't be political by its very nature. But, but on that same note, we don't have, if we do censor someone, then we, by very definition, it's going to be political to somebody. So in order to not be political, people will be able to use our service, will be able to stream and save their content and back up all their stuff, and utilize a social media platform that's almost identical to Facebook, except for you're not going to be, all of the members collectively determine the terms of use, not SafeVet, not somebody at the very top, not Mark Zuckerberg. Its members determine its terms of use, determine what they think is appropriate and inappropriate. Can be done in a bunch of different ways, right? And the members will police its policy. There's so much that we can do with this. It's not like one individual can do anything, but if everybody works together collectively, we can solve the problems that everybody's bitching about right now, right? The World Wide Web will still exist. Those problems, you can still have them if you want. But we need to have like a national public radio. We need to have a national public database. And in my opinion, who better to maintain it than a group of veterans, right? And in the process, we can turn around and provide that content to our troops overseas at no cost. If you're a content provider and you donate content to us, like you normally would today with AFN. Well, you can turn around and get a tax deduction on that, right? So we have so many benefits for it. So many ways that this just, so many things that this fixes. So we're not coming to you just complaining about how everything's broken. We're literally coming to you, showing you that it's broken. I'm taking kind of a mea culpa, saying, my bad, I'm kind of a little bit responsible for breaking it, but here's how we can fix it, right? And if it worked for television, and if it was important enough for television, and important enough for radio, why is the protections of influence from either corporations or our government not, why isn't it just completely obvious that that protection needs to exist for social media and the internet, right? It just seems logical. So, anyway, we've been on for 1 hour and 2 minutes, so we'll probably want to wrap this up now.
We'll have to do it again because there's quite a few things that we didn't cover that I know that you get to. So we'll have to figure out a time that makes sense that we can do this again.
I'm checking my email real quick. I'm hoping that the fabricator guy caught. No, he didn't. Okay, I gotta call him. So as soon as we get the fabricator to make the mounts for the cases, which cases already have the mounts, he just needs to make the frame bracket. As soon as we get that, I'll be on the road, heading up to DC, stopping along the way, making a few stops. I'm going to turn around, come back here. Then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to head up to Texas. I have a few stops up there. I'm going to meet in Indiana with Fred and go over the bylaws and the Constitution with him. It's kind of cool, right? Because here we are just headstrong. Here I am, anyway, headstrong with putting this together. And here you go, Fred. And Fred's like, it's all shit, right? Didn't he? He was like, this is all shit. He's like, listen, I've been doing this.
No, that's not what he
No,
said.
let me finish. He's like, he's like, I've been doing this forever. And if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And he did not say it's all shit. I'm exaggerating there for dramatic effect. But Fred knows what he's doing. He knows what he knows what's necessary to make a nonprofit, a veterans nonprofit, successful. And we're blessed to have Fred part of this. So when he says, listen, you got to turn around and take your focus off this and put it on that, and when you get that done, we'll go forward. And so that's exactly what we're doing. And hopefully, I'll be pretty close with what I have when I meet with Fred up in Indiana in the next few weeks. And we'll be able to start moving forward pretty quickly, because if you go to safevet.org, we got the site. Well, it's up. We've got a retail site set up on it. We got mugs. We got all these things that are ready to go. But we can't go until it's proper, until it's done right. And that's what I love about having someone like Fred, because this is a big undertaking. And he knows what he's doing. He's done things on this scale before, and we could not be any luckier to have him. Would you agree with that, Susan?
Oh, absolutely. And I've served in volunteer positions. I've served on different boards and things like that. When I was an auditor at CPA, one of my largest clients in Los Angeles was the Los Angeles Fire Department. So I'm familiar with the accounting and all that stuff, the tax and so forth. But in terms of just putting together this organization the right way from the ground, and really kind of building out and developing a vision for something that's not going to be some little one-off project. I mean, this is going to be something
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to serve our military, our former military, um, and then other nonprofits too. You know, like
Universities.
yeah, diversity. So um, we were talking about just different companies and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
different institutions that could utilize this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is something that we have to. I agree completely. We have to build it out. The foundation has to be built right and strong and firm.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you know, we can't. We have to do it right so it can last.
Yep.
And that's my intent.
Yeah. So a lot going on. Everything's making progress, right? Um,
Right.
uh, I'll get that. I'll get the bike on the road hopefully within maybe the next 10 days. I'll follow up with that guy again tomorrow with our fabricators. Sue's met him. We met with these two guys. They said no problem, like 10 days, right? That was like almost 10 days ago. So we're going to have to keep on them.
We never know what happens, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, people have their lives and things.
We're in the middle of a pandemic.
You know, exactly. So, and these guys are very creative. Their shop is just it just reeks of creativity.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just amazing.
Oh yeah, they got a CNC machine there. They got all sorts of stuff. They more than capable of doing it, so it'll look good.
Yeah, we'll just have to be patient.
Yep. Yep.
That's another thing you want to have right, because you don't want to have your equipment, all the equipment that you've had and that
Yeah.
you know, you need to have everything secure.
It's got to be safe, secure, protected. That's why I did my test today. I would love to be out. If I had those cases on, I would be out even more. And it's going to take me a couple days once I get the cases mounted on to put the network in and to set all that stuff up. But yeah, it's like really, you got to be careful with all this. But I'm going to get out on the road and I'm going to start knocking on some people's doors. I'm going to D.C. I'm going to be knocking on, Marco Rubio is going to get a call from me now thanks to his new promotion. I'll check back in with Lindsey Graham. I am working on something with our attorney guy with relation to Flynn, but that's all I'm going to say on that. And so there are a lot of things that are happening right now. We're coming out of this pandemic. It's an election year, and I think that this summer has the potential of really just becoming either chaos or I don't see unity in the picture. So it's just kind of like, what level of chaos are the Democrats going to, what are they prepared to do to the country? How much are they prepared to destroy the country? And some Republicans too. How much are they prepared to destroy the country to protect their own interests is what is going to determine the content that I record this summer. Because we've got good stuff. We've got the Sony 4K. We've got the GoPro in 4K. We're going to make some great content. And hopefully I'll be able to put this together as like a documentary when it's all said and done, of a whistleblower just trying to finish the job he was hired to do. I was hired as an information assurance security officer for the Defense Department. My job was cut short by threat actors that subverted the system and jeopardized our national security. So my job, in my mind, is not done until they've been held accountable for that. So we got some work cut out for us, but I'm not done. I'm not giving up. And I can't thank you enough for your help, Susan. I can't thank enough everybody on Patreon that's helped. I've been quiet on Patreon. I've been quiet on all social media the last probably 3 weeks, but that's because I've been really overwhelmed with like 15 plus hours a day with work. I would not have gotten any of that done because like doing these videos takes several hours of preparation during the day, right? So I'm either going to fix this problem over here, I'm either going to be able to take a few weeks and work on these bylaws, work on this Constitution, work on this video, meet with you down here, do all of these things, and focus on that for a few weeks, or I'm not going to be able to do it, right? Because I can't do, like these videos can take, when I add content or like adding the video to it, you know, for a few minutes, a 20-minute video can take me 4 to 6 hours to put together, right? I'm not here because I have some desire to be the next Dan Bongino, because I have some desire to be like, you know, a journalist. I don't. I am here because I have no choice, and I'm trying to figure out a way to inform Americans so that they can have this conversation and they can decide whether or not the people that they've put in charge are behaving appropriately or if things need to be changed, right? So, again, I appreciate everything, Susan. Anything you'd like to close out with?
Well, I was thinking, as you are able to firm up your travel schedule, maybe you can put that out there, maybe some major cities that you're going to be going to, and if any of your Patreon or Twitter followers want to, I don't know, meet you for coffee or, whatever, or just, donate something,
Yeah.
I don't know, for your travel.
I want to do that. That's a great idea, and I want to do that. But the concern I have with that is that these are very powerful people that I'm trying to expose. Although, I think anybody's going to agree that Mark Zuckerberg's a pretty powerful person, right? But my complaint, which I held an above top secret clearance for the last decade, people really should listen to me and take me seriously, or arrest me. You can do either one, but ignoring me is not, the problem's not going away. Mark Zuckerberg needs to answer for his actions, right? Because I believe his actions and the actions of others are directly jeopardizing the sovereignty of our country, right? And so, no, I mean, I'm going to do my best. This isn't the job that I want. I don't mind going around capturing and documenting things, right? I like observing. I'm a people watcher, right? I like to sit at a cafe and watch people go by, enjoy my coffee. And then, of course, we have my work in profiling and behavioral, social media behavioral analytics. So, that's kind of observing. But I'm not really the kind of guy that I'm not a people person. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to sit there and interview someone, right? Oh, tell me about your feeling. I could give a shit about it. I'm sorry. That's not my nature. I'm an IT guy, and I prefer to stay off the radar, which this is as far white hat, right? I mean, this is as far off the radar, on the radar as you can get. I don't like that. I'm doing this because I have to, and I can't thank the people enough who have supported me and helped me to get these things and helped me to get the software and to be able to do the stuff that I'm doing that will hopefully start this conversation that I've thus far been unsuccessful to do through all of the normal chains of command, right? So, any rate, thank you very much, Susan.
You are so welcome, and we'll have to figure out another time, because I know that, like I said, I know there's some other things that we wanted to cover. We didn't have an opportunity to do that, so maybe that could happen
Yeah.
this weekend.
And what you're going to find me doing is once I figure some of this, like the grabbing the video, a better solution for that, like from with the GoPro, and live streaming. And once I get the cases set up so I have the network in there, I'll be able to actually live stream and broadcast from my bike just like I'm doing with this now. It's really cool how I'm doing it. But, you know, until then, I'm still looking at going out, having, I think, good on a bike, right? And I think it's kind of actually fun. So I'm going to pretty much go out there and do some riding. I'll talk, I'll discuss things that are happening related to my story, and the things that people need to understand what's going on, like with Pelosi and all the, and you know, I listened to her on TV today, and I'm like, oh dear God, these people are just destroying our country. So, anyway, Susan, I thank you very much. We're now like an hour and 17, and you're only supposed to do these things for like 20 minutes, or you're going to lose everybody. So we violated that thing, and plus the audio is kind of crappy on it, apparently, with that humming. Maybe I got rid of that. But thank you very much, Susan. I'm going to sign off now.